When I saw her, I quit breathing.
So he was like, oh, I'm sorry. I don't know who this is, but I'm going to marry her.
If you're a Gen Xer like myself and you look at the list of Microsoft operating systems, it can make you feel a little bit old because not only do you recognize all of them, but there's a good chance you use all of them. I used all of them except, of course, Windows 1. I was a little bit too young, but this was the time when your parents would say, go do something constructive on the computer. And so you put up this little bad boy, play this for about 30 minutes or an hour. Or you might pull up this little game right here, especially in the Windows 95-ish era, where this is where we first started using computers to do stuff that it could do more than just play games. And of course, if you were a gamer, you played more involved games, and I got started gaming playing a little game called Warcraft. But you can see that as we grew up, so did Windows. However, Windows had a small issue when they got to 2006 with Vista.
So I've been single for about 2.5 years, and I'm waiting until marriage to have sex.
Don't lower your standards or change your beliefs for somebody else. Quit wasting your time and sit and wait on your soulmate.
Enter Windows Vista. So why did it fail? Windows Vista was the successor of XP and released in November of 2006. Many were excited for the release, but the joyful enthusiasm was not met with a great product. Vista was coined Microsoft's biggest failure. Vista alone had 50 million lines of code, 10 million lines of code more than the successor Windows 7. Because of the excessive amount of bloat and code, it was very slow on devices at the time. And so you can see that Vista had problems with deeply rooted, which I'm not a computer geek, so I don't really understand it. Vista also had a lot of incompatibility issues. And so Vista failed essentially because it was a dress up of an old product that worked on an old system, but it didn't work on new systems in a new environment.
If you invest in a man and you help build a man, it's harder for the man to just take off and leave. So you come in there, he already made, you're gonna have to sign a prenup. You can leave, but you ain't taking nothing with you. Uh-oh, let your church say amen.
All Niger Entertainment article from July 4th, 2022, I didn't ask Marjorie to sign a prenup, Steve Harvey. The show, which originally aired last April, explained Steve and Marjorie do not have a prenuptial agreement. It looks like Steve doesn't believe in prenuptial agreements, so Marge may have hit the jackpot in more ways than one. That means if they divorce, Marjorie will get half of his estimated $100 million fortune. Steve clarifies that he didn't have Marjorie sign a prenup because he quote-unquote knew she was the one. Remember, this is his third marriage and her second marriage after several children on both sides. Before Marjorie, I had nothing, but when I married her, I had something. We didn't do a prenup because I knew she was the chick. According to Steve, if you have a prenuptial agreement, it puts some kind of jinx on your marriage. Steve also said he believes that men should not have a plan B if their marriage fails. Instead, they should put their effort all into making sure that plan A, the marriage, works. If you're a young lady and what Steve Harvey says resonates with you, you're in luck because you can catch him on Judge Steve Harvey, Celebrity Family Feud. He has his original television show, Steve. He has several movies, including most recently Think Like a Man 2. And of course, if you have 4 free hours in the morning, you can catch the Steve Harvey Morning Show. Your bride-to-be could have access to advice like, or should I say, Windows Vista advice like this.
Marriage is not 50-50. It has never been 50-50. It will never be 50-50. I'm gonna hold up a card and I'm gonna show you what marriage is. Marriage is 85-15. 85 to the woman and 15 to the man. And let me explain something to you. The reason a woman is in charge of the house is because they know more about it. They know the kids' schedule. They know your schedule. They know the bills. They know where everybody goes. They take care of vacations. They run everything in the house because they care about everything. You a dude. You just know about your job. You don't know nothing else. You don't know nothing else. And guess what? I'm happy.
Right.
I come home and I'm...
Now, you see where the appeal lies, right? It's honey to the ears of young ladies operating in an environment that is fundamentally different. And that's why I allude to Vista. The environment is different now. We are not in an old environment where we have traditional rules where people lived where men did most of the working and women weren't allowed to work. Now, the environment is totally different. And yet this is the advice that is being propagated into the ears of anyone that has access to daytime American media.
I caught half of you using ChatGPT for the last essay. So guess what? Your final essay is now 50 pages.
No problem. I'll just use Syncode AI's new AI document editor. This lets you use AI directly in docs, and you can easily write new sections, make the text longer, improve it, and even bypass AI detectors with a simple click.
Windows Vista is a vestige of the past. The future? That belongs to OpenAI. And we can see with AI, it just works.
Works every time.
Here you can see 101 potential uses for ChatGPT. Chatting, language learning, creative projects, customer service, research, answering customer questions, therapy, writing assistance, copy, email commerce, entertainment, mental health, speech recognition. And this is just the beginning of it. In a way, it's evolving faster than we can keep up with. This is a graph from the Pew Research Center, and you can see that starting from 1982, it's 65%. The percentage of a woman's pay compared to a man's pay is clearly climbing, although it's leveled off in recent years, and there might be several different reasons for that. But you also have to keep in mind that it's technically illegal for two people working the same job with the same qualifications to be paid different amounts of money. So there's that. But looking at the chart detailing the percentage of a woman's pay compared to a man's, you can see in the 60s, it was nearly half. And then you get to the 80s, you're in the 60%. And then at 1990, you hit 71%. And so in the 90s is basically 70%. And then you hit 75%-ish around 2000. And then it remains north of 75% for the 2000s. And then once you hit 2019, or should I say in 2016, you're at 80%. So we see a trend in that the pay gap is closing. So my question is, with the closing of the pay gap, are attitudes about divorce and prenups changing with them for women? This is an interview between Angela Yee and Sherry Shepard discussing Steve Harvey's interview that he had with Shannon Sharp that left him with $1,700, and the tone that they have around marriage and prenups sounds a little bit different.
All right, now we heard Steve Harvey on Club Shay Shay, and he was talking about going broke, right? He had made over $30 million, and then at the end of it all, he had like $1,700 in the bank. Have you been good with your money throughout the course of your career?
No, because I got married twice.
Okay, that was a...
Now you're going to hear them talk about marriage in a different way than you heard from Steve Harvey.
Happened to him. He said the divorce is what broke him.
That's why I tell people it's not the marriage and spending all the money. It's the divorce.
Right.
That's why I always tell women, when you get married, get a prenup.
Yeah. I was just saying
we were talking about that. Yeah, we were talking about that.
I was saying it's just like a business arrangement, right? You get an...
What is the word that you heard there? Business arrangement. You're not hearing love and the 85-15 and the woman knows her way around the house. That's Windows Vista stuff, man. This is on some ChatGPT stuff right here, man.
Operating agreement, just in case it doesn't work, we know what the arrangement is so we can separate.
A lot of people say, especially women, it sets it up for failure. You planted seeds of negativity. But I was married with the prenup and without a prenup. Mm-hmm. Without the prenup, I lost everything. My house that I had saved up and bought. So much money went to the attorneys that was supposed to go into my son's mouth. So
she had her two marriages just like you saw with Steve Harvey. She did not dive into her third marriage with the same way that Steve Harvey did. She is thinking business.
And with the prenup, I didn't lose my house. I didn't lose that kind of stuff because a prenup is just like that. It's like you have car insurance. You don't expect to get into an accident.
Yeah, you don't want to.
You can control you, but you can't control everybody around you. That's why you have insurance. You have a burden.
Insurance. Notice the word usage. Insurance. How many times in this interview have you heard love? You haven't even heard it yet.
alarm. You don't expect for anybody to break in, but when it's there. And so when you do a prenup says everything that you have worked for is still yours.
Right.
Because if you don't have a prenup, he can take the money that you were supposed to use for your parents if you have to take care of your.
Still haven't heard the word love. I haven't heard any of that stuff. I haven't heard 8515. I hear a conversation about business.
Parents, if you got to take care of your child's education, a prenup can say, if we have kids, you can't move out of the state.
Wow.
You can. So a
you
prenup,
can put whatever you want to.
A prenup is so specific. You do it and get it out.
They know the rules. Look at that. Look at that. They're going to protect those assets.
Out of the way. You don't think about it until you may need it.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you look at the statistics, because the first one, when I didn't do a prenup, I was like, but the Bible say, and the statistics are a lot of marriages end up in divorce. It's nothing to be bitter about.
No one intends for that to happen.
Learning the lesson. You see that? She looked at the stats, look at the numbers. She's not thinking romantically about this. The stats say, I got to be worried about this stuff, so I'm going to go in with it with a clear mind, and I'm going to make the proper precautions.
Nobody
when they
intends
get married.
to, but divorce gets ugly.
It does,
it gets so ugly, and when it does, it's nice to be able to pull out a piece
document.
of paper, a document, and say, "This is what we have agreed to." It is a legal contract.
Because then you.
It's always business, never personal.
You can hear these two ladies who are both very accomplished and have a lot to lose in a divorce the way they speak about divorce. They're not speaking about divorce in whimsical, fanciful terms like a Disney movie. They're looking at it like it's a business contract. And you can see as our counterparts are earning more money, they see marriage in a much different way than we hear this gentleman here, Windows Vista, speak about marriage. He speaks about marriage as an old, whimsical, fanciful Disney movie. And he's getting cleaned out every single time he does it. And he might get cleaned out again, which is something that's not going to happen to the ladies in this conversation. It's a simple evolution that men have to understand because, let's be frank, women that are becoming successful, they are making that evolution very quickly. They see it as a business and they're going to it as such. They're not going into it with this 85-15 nonsense that you're hearing that's buttering the ears of people who have access to daytime programming and hearing Steve Harvey, aka Windows Vista. The women that are getting their money up, they're talking like business women when it gets to marriage. Take note. Thanks for watching, like, subscribe, comment below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care, guys.